So, fair enough. This may be his time to shine then, if he's finally got the matchups he wants. And in the top left-hand corner, there's no way I'm going to be able to zoom in on that. In the red trunks, it's going to be Jibs. Down in the bottom right of the tiny little map Crimson Woods, in the blue trunks, it's going to be Shadow. Now this is a pretty interesting map. The main base is a little bit small choked, but there's this extra little one on the left. And obviously it's like a tiny map. Like there's so many trees here to block and slow stuff down. But in the end it's a teeny tiny map, and you've gotta really be on your toes with your micro. And Jib's neglecting to scout, and he's just gonna go blind barracks, which I think is actually a really good choice. Obviously wolves are effective, but the extra soldiers are just gonna be such a soldiers trade so well against wolves. There we go. Shadow's going to try and do a little bit of harassment, but not going to get much done. He will get his wolves out probably before any soldiers turn up though, so he might have an opportunity to get something done. Now, bear in mind, Jibs is like ridiculously favoured in this matchup. Like, Jibs has been doing so well in tournaments. I think he's something like 19-1, or like 95% in sets. I think 90 to 95% in like actual maps. So he's been doing ridiculously well. And obviously he's like rank 3 in the world right now, versus poor Shadow at only 26, so it's going to be tough. We have seen upsets before, obviously. We just saw Benny go out, so you never know what could happen. Oh, and have I got the overlay on? There you go. So Jibs is actually gonna. He should be able to micro out of. Well, I guess no, the wolf is too fast. He is going to lose that one. And that's a pretty big deal. That is a pretty big deal so far. The soldier's going to pick up a worker in return there for Shadow. Shadow not on top of the ball on the other side of the map. And Jibs is going to have his first set of units out pretty soon here. Now, Shadow's elected to skip the remaining wolves. Well, he's going to resume it now, but he skipped it just to get that second base out faster. Which is a nice idea, especially on bigger maps. But Jibs has got 2 soldiers out. And he's going to have a rifleman out in a second. Shadow just has nowhere near enough stuff to deal with that. Like, he needs 3 times as many wolves as he has now to actually trade with the army that Jibs has. So I'm worried for him. I don't know how well he can hold. He's not got a tower or anything, so here we go. Jibs is actually going to come into the main base of his opponent here. He's actually going to pick off this wolf at the front. That's going to go down for basically free. And the works are getting pulled here to try and do as much damage as they can. But if Jibs can find a nice... Oh, never mind a nice angle. He's actually just going to keep stepping back and trade really well right now. The wolves have been called back. They're not doing any damage. And I think this is going to go pretty quickly into the favour of Jibs right now. Shadow's going to lose another wolf here at the front. He's basically traded everything away. He's trying to hold these off. The soldiers are still alive. Great micro from Jibs actually to keep those alive. One more worker will go down there in the corner. And all in all, Jibs lost nothing and cleaned up every single wolf. This is a nightmare for Shadow right now. He's down 1 worker. He's got basically half his workers not mining in an attempt to defend this. Another soldier's on the way. And I think Shadow's in trouble. I think he's in a lot of trouble right now. The second base for Jibs is up and running. Well, it's about to be up and running. We'll actually bring that up on the other tab. There we go. It's now up and running. But with effectively 3 soldiers in your main, at this stage of the game, that's not good. Shadow's managed to keep these low health workers alive, but as soon as this rifleman comes in, they're gonna die. The soldiers will get picked off at the front, but not after they do some extra damage. The other soldiers now in the main, that's gonna clean up this one. Jibs on top of his micro, Shadow says GG, and there we go. Jibs was apparently completely in the wrong colour, so I'm gonna apologise for that. Let's swap that over for you. We'll get map 2. And it's going to be winter. Alright, so let's just leave this game and go into the next one. Oh, looks like Sekadite was looking for a tutorial, but I hope someone gave it to him. Right, we'll let Jibs know the next map. Actually, let's mix this music up a little bit. Let's switch back to this stuff. We don't want to keep running the same songs forever, otherwise you guys will get a little bit bored. And that's no fun for anyone. Alright, just trying to kick the guests out of the lobby and then get started. Yeah, I'm sorry to anyone who saw the fact the colours are the wrong way around. That happens occasionally if I don't manage to set up my UI properly. I do have a lot to run while I'm doing this. Alright, looks like the players are about ready up. Oh, looks like the game is... The guest managed to get into the game, so we're just going to leave and rehost. Alright, so we're just trying to convince You Don't Surf to go watch on Twitch rather than sitting in the game. We do want as few players as possible to reduce the lag. So it's going to be the Winter 1.0 in the bottom left. In the red, it's going to be Jibs, the Titan himself. And the man with a plan who wants to take him down, it is going to be Shadow in the blue trunks. One game behind, but he does have victory on his mind. I don't know why I'm rhyming. We shall stop now. So both players once again going for pretty much the same build as we've seen a lot of people been doing on this map today. It's a shame. I miss people being able to sort of grab that 6 expand. We see some people still try, but House First is basically the go-to build right now. And Jibs is probably going to look to 1 den expand right now, based on how many workers is on this Wolf's Den. The more workers there are, the more aggressive this is going to be. And normally if you want to 2 racks all in, sorry, 2 den all in, you can time it, so as soon as your house finishes, you can just chuck down 2 dens. So we'll just close that window so you don't have to read all of that nonsense. So Shadow's Den is going to be a tiny bit behind for the moment. But he's going to get the scout off first, he's going to confirm his opponent's build, and he should be able to back out before the wolf finds him. So he shouldn't lose this. And from here, it's going to be a case of micro. I assume both players are just going to expand off the back of this, but interesting to possibly see Jibs all in. He does tend to macro most of the time, except in the old patch where 2 racks was viable. And Shadow's going to be the one. Someone had to bite the bullet, and he's going to go for it. It's going to be a 2 racks, 2 den even. It's not quite an all-in. You can transition out of it, especially if you're just going to go and do the 2020 build, which is 5 wolves, 10 workers for 2020 supply. But I don't know. I think it's possibly coming a little bit late. Jibs' expansion is already going down. With a map this big, I'll be surprised if it does much damage. It's a little bit late. There's going to be too much really here to defend. And Jibs' economy is going to give him a great mid game. So they're going to meet in the middle of the map, going to give each other a little cuddle. And Jibs will be the one to blink first. He's going to back out. And he will take a little damage as he passes through these trees. But the second wolf should push that one away. But Shadow now looks like he's actually timed this build out fairly well. And he will just continue to stream wolves across the map. Jib's in a nice defensive position though. These trees make it really hard to put much aggression on unless you sort of go all the way around them. And so far, Shadow's done no damage. No damage at all. He's going for the house, so he's going to continue this aggression. He's not going to try and expand anytime soon. But Jibs' expansion is, well, done now. They're on even wolves, and I think this supply block is going to kill Shadow. I think he's going to... Yeah, I think this is basically going to make him one very dead blue player. He's hovering around looking for the expansion, but if he wanted the expansion, he shouldn't have gotten the house. Where's that tower going down? I'm trying to find it. There's a blue tower going down somewhere. Oh, it's... There we go, that's why I couldn't find it. It's actually in Jibs' main base. And there's no way Jibs is going to let that go up. He's actually going to lose a worker. There we go. The tower is going to have to be cancelled in not too long. And Jibs is now 3 workers up. Yeah, there we go. It gets cancelled. Shadow, I get what he was trying to do. I get the aggression and that he wanted to make something work because he doesn't want to macro against Jibs. Jibs is not called the Titan lightly, but you can see Jibs is kept up in wolves. The supply block has pretty much killed Shadow, and Jibs is going to come in. He's going to see the expand going down only now, and he will be grinning to himself. He's in a fantastic position in this game. Right now, honestly, I'm surprised Shadow's going for the expansion. He's going to be so far behind, like he's already 4 workers behind, and he's going to be more before this castle goes up. That really, I think he should have just all end. I reckon he throws down like a barracks behind this, and just tries to put on as much pressure as he can. He will. Oh, he's going to try and get a wolf here, but I think Jibs is going to get out with it. And Jibs in fantastic position. Jibs throwing down his own barracks now. He says, I'm not scared of dragons coming because they're going to be too late. It's going to be a forge from Shadow. So I assume he's going to make a barracks transition in just a minute, but I think this is going to get him killed. Jibs has set himself up remarkably well. He's 7 workers ahead and even got more wolves versus this, which should never happen, but that's why I call him the Titan. He just doesn't die. And the first barracks of Jibs is going to finish up in not too long, and as soon as soldiers pop out, soldiers and Wolfie Wolf, gets kinda silly. Like, just a little bit. And there we go. Shadow's going to throw down the barracks now, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. The Forge is on the way for Jibs. And Jibs just has so many units already, like 11 versus 8, that it's just not going to work. As soon as this soldier pops out, that's it. There's going to be zero chance for Shadow to really do any aggression unless Jibs screws up. I'm just going to keep checking my overlays on because I've screwed that up before in a hype match. The Forge hasn't started anything yet. I think Shadow realizes that he's possibly trying to reach for too much. He's going to try and bring all of his scouting wolves back to deal with this, because Jibs has so much stuff right now. Like, he can just literally march into the natural, and although he can't just A-move, he does require a little bit of micro. It's going to be fantastic for him. He's actually going to try and pick up the surround on the wolf on the left-hand side. You can see the control of these wolves is just so good. He's going to pick up another one down here as he traps him in amongst the trees. There we go, it does get pinned in place. And Shadow's going to try and take the engagement on the top, but the wolf count is pretty even, to be honest. Jib's actually even pulling back the low health wolves. Shadow's going to try and hold on, but 5 wolves behind, and there's now a soldier just to add insult to injury. I think Shadow just needs to throw down a tower or something because he has nothing to defend. +1 attacks on the way, but he's got no barracks units, and it's not going to be enough. Jibs marches into the main base again. He's looking for the surround, and there's actually a gap on the left hand side he can start to use. Putting the soldier forward towards the front, it's going to tank so much damage, and it dishes out ridiculous amount. It's kind of like a mortal versus stalkers. It's crazy how well this soldier does. There we go. Shadow actually doing really well to try and fight in the concave, and this wolf actually spazzing out a little bit. You can see just too much for Jibs here. The reinforcements stream wherever there's a gap, and the soldier in the front line doing so much work. Let's see how many kills that thing actually. Well, I guess it's not been the one getting kills, but it's been doing more than its fair share of damage. There we go, goes up to 2 kills already. The rifleman's trying to do as much damage as it can, but realistically, it's 9 versus 5. This is not looking healthy for Shadow. He might hold on. He's going to pull workers, so he should do. But he's going to take a lot of damage. So much damage. He's 5 workers behind. The +1 attack is going to finish up for these riflemen. So that's nice. And that might give him the edge. He might be able to at least push out. And Jibs is actually going to get cleaned up in the middle of the map here. Rifleman versus Rifleman don't do well when you're 1 upgrade behind. So Shadow did hold on. And that's actually pretty darn impressive. But the issue is, what's his follow-up? Like, his tech's behind, there's soldiers after this. And both Rifleman and Wolves kind of suck against soldiers. Neither trade that efficiently. And there we go, soldier picking up another kill. Wolf's going to try and go for some himself. And right now, Jibs is going into 3 racks with his own upgrades. The teching into barracks units, although cute, and I like the Forge, like as a quick response. And it will actually pick up this rifleman, that's pretty nice. He's just not good enough. Like, the tech is good, but if you don't actually have like many units of that tech, it's not going to do anything. He's got to be a little bit careful with his few units out that he does have. But more soldiers on the way now, and Shadow's not going to be able to trade this army. Jib's actually building up a lot of gold in the background. I'm not sure where this is going. I guess it's going into a third base. But that's a surprising thing from Jibs there. His macro is normally on point. So I'm very surprised he's building up so much gold. But I guess he's focused on this engagement in the middle. He cleans up all the wolves. The riflemen are on the retreat. And as much as it can run from soldiers, you cannot run from wolves. Still no tower up in the main base for Shadow. He's managed to replace those workers. But +1 versus +1, it's not going to go his way. The soldiers are going to come in now, try and do as much damage as they can. The workers are getting pulled, but he doesn't really want to lose any of those. It's desperately important to him. They're on so low health, they're just going to die instantly. A couple of workers just vaporize here. Jib's actually trying to focus those down rather than fighting the riflemen. And once again, his attack's going to get cleaned up. Not having done that much, he gets a few extra kills. So, he's actually nearly like 1,500 gold ahead. And both players going for their third bases. I'm impressed Shadow's held on this long. But I would be very, very impressed if he manages to take this game, honestly. There you go, Jib's just going to step forward again, which I think is a mistake. He really wants to just step back, build up. He's got the better economy. He's got the lead there. He needs to hold on to that, and he doesn't want to risk taking the damage. But he's going to go for it. The soldiers are going to come to the top hand side. The wolf gets pretty much one-shotted, and the soldier's going to go down as well. Yeah, Jibs realizes it's a mistake and backs out. Shadow actually going up to 10 riflemen. He's actually in a pretty good spot. He's actually one upgrade ahead. It's going to even up in a second here. But I think Jib's just possibly feeling a little bit too cocky. I think he decided, yeah, I can take this, went into the natural, and got slapped down. Absolutely slapped down. He's got more reinforcements here. And it looks like he's going to go into Mage Check. Mage Check is, of course, pretty much the perfect answer to just a mass of rifles. Wolves in mass numbers are okay, but if you're going to tech with a forge, the mage is the better choice. He will scout this force coming in on the right hand side as he attempts to just generally scout. And Jib's actually being forced on the defensive. That's pretty surprising. But I think as soon as this mage check pops out, it's going to be curtains for Shadow. Although I said that before when the first push went in, and I've been proven wrong so far in this game. The thing that'll be interesting is if Jib's about to throw down Flame Strike to clean up riflemen and workers, or is he going to throw down heal spells so he can just prolong his aggression? Personally, I prefer Flame Strike. I think it's the better choice. But heal spell's pretty darn good. It obviously got nerfed a little bit in the patch a little while ago. Jib's, I think, yeah, he's ahead in workers still, but he really should try and deny this third base. Like, there's no reason that an odd 1 or 2 riflemen or soldiers can't go pick off an extra couple of free riflemen, workers. You can come in through the tree line here, snipe workers while the army is engaged, and then just back out. It's actually a really nice setup on the third base for harassment. Mages Guild done, 3 mages on the way, and it's going to be Fireball. Fireball is a lovely, lovely spell for a ball of riflemen like this. If they don't split, 2, 3 fireballs, and your army is basically gone. And with 3 mages, he's going to have 6 fireballs once he's at full energy, which he will do when the Flame Strike finishes. So that's going to be beautiful for him. There we go. As I said, Jibs is coming in for the harassment on this extra base. I don't know about wolves as the harassment. Wolves are a little bit fragile, they don't do as much damage. But it's just going to require some APM out of his opponent. It's going to be a little bit annoying. He doesn't get a worker kill out of it though. It does buy time, which is going to help. And that will keep the army back. There we go, the mage is now building up. They're at about 70 energy. They want to get to about 100 before this engagement hits. Obviously, the fireball costing 50 energy a pop. So unless you have that maxed out energy, you only get 1 per mage. But let's keep an eye on the double bases. So that's pretty sweet to actually just see that level of scouting coming out of both of them. And that should be expected. Someone like Shadow versus someone like Jibs, you expect them to have a high caliber of just general play, scouting, fundamentals, macro. That should be expected at this level of play. Shadow actually putting a lot of workers to try and deal with this tower. Well, not to deal with, but to get this tower up. So possibly feeling a little bit insecure. But, oh, he did manage to scout all those mages though. That's pretty sweet. He doesn't know what spell it is, but there we go. He's going to assume it's fireball like he should. And he's going to spread out. Jibs is going to go for the engagement now. And Shadow possibly hoping to hit before fireball. He's not gonna because it's now finished up. There we go. Jibs hasn't spotted this army and... well, this could be pretty big. Shadow's going to get completely out of position. There we go. We'll see it now and he's going to come back and engage this. Wolf in again on the third base, but Wolf isn't going to do much. Not on its own. You need a couple to do any harassment. Jibs is just keeping an eye on this army, trying to space it out a little bit. He's going to go in the top hand side as well. There we go, the engagement comes in, the mage is going to step forward. Oh, it might get picked off there. No, Jibs will defend it, that's pretty important. You absolutely cannot let your mages die here. The upgrades are actually slightly in Jibs' favour. And what about the unit count? No, the unit count is probably going to be pretty firmly in the hands of Shadow, just by a few units, but enough. The biggest thing is the composition. Fireball Mage is going to tear through this Rifleman force. Absolutely tear through it. The Wolves actually going to dance straight into the main as the Mages come in here. They're hoping to force the army to clump up to deal with this. Jibs is trying to run forward, but he's got stuck in the trees. Those Wolves, possibly a little bit presumptuous, but here we go. The Fireballs do land on some of the army, but the splits from Shadow are gorgeous here. Really, really nice. The fireball from Jibs will miss. He's actually used up 2 of these already. The next fireball is going to only land on a few units. Jibs actually engaging really not very well here. He traded away a lot of wolves and didn't get much done. The next fireball, oh, gorgeous. 2 more fireballs right in the center of the army. So that's going to make up for messing up those fireballs earlier. And Shadow actually oversaturated on his third base. He transferred his main to his third. And that's pretty stacked up. Jibs right now did manage to take the Rifleman lead in that fight. It's 15-10. The workers are possibly getting pulled to try and get this extra tower up. And 2 more mages for Jibs. Now Jibs would like to buy a little bit of time just to get those mages back to full energy. But the problem is at the same time Shadow's trying to get up towers. And Riflemen, they're okay versus towers, but they're not great. Not really. Soldiers are a lot better. He does want to keep harassing this third base though. Obviously at the moment it's oversaturated, but any kills are always useful. And it looks like Shadow's actually going to go and try and take another base down here. There we go. Which is pretty darn greedy considering, to be honest. Like, you've got an army at your main base, he's got mages when you don't. And your upgrades are way behind, and you want to grab another base? Well, he's going to have to, because Jibs does already have the base down there. He's going for the fort, either just to protect it, it might be for dragons. I'd assume it's just to protect. Here we go, the fireball lands on the bottom hand side of the army. The soldier's going to rush forward. Fireball, oh, Shadow walks straight into that one, and Jibs is going to clean this up right now. The workers are being pulled, but they're just going to die to fireball so fast. There's only 3 mages in this army though. There's 4 mages on the map, but they're not with this army yet. The workers are going to get pulled from the left-hand side. Fireball lands on pretty much all of them. Shadow's going to try and pick up some of these mages, but he can't get in close enough right now. Jib's trading so well. He's dropped his opponent down to 5 workers. And there we go. Jibs takes game number 2.